So the other day my phone kept going off, with notifications from my second channel Splash Dash, my friend's channel? My channel. They were all the same thing. You've got a comment on your Teals doll video. This was weird to me. I uploaded that video like a year ago. How am I still getting this many comments on it? And that's when I looked at it. When the hell did this video get 800,000 views? That's more than most of the videos on my main channel. What happened here? Suddenly Sonic.exe related stuff was popping up everywhere. In my YouTube recommendations, on my Twitter timeline. Hell, I was seeing it pop up in real life at flea markets and stuff. Did I somehow get transported back to the year 2013? Unsurprisingly, the answer to that is no. It instead just so happens that somehow in the year of our Lord and Savior 2020, Sonic.exe, and by proxy his merry band of hyper-realistic pals, have crawled their way back into public consciousness. That's not to say Sonic.exe ever really went away. Quite the contrary. There have always been new game releases, sequel stories, and whatnot over the years. But it's hard to deny that in the past few months, we've seen a definite resurgence in popularity for the series. But just how did this happen? Well, that's what I want to talk about today. Let's go into Sonic.exe and why it suddenly started popping up everywhere again. If for some reason you don't know who or what Sonic.exe is, and haven't seen my previous video where I briefly go over the subject, well, first of all, what are you doing on this video? Why did you click it? Well, do you want to subscribe? The button's right there. Basically, Sonic.exe was the creation of this person called, you know what? I can't seem to recall. See, what happened was the creator was recently exposed for doing some seriously fucked up things, and it appears the community as a response just ripped Sonic.exe from him, and are not letting the fan community take over, and so the real creator shall hopefully disappear into anonymity. So, Sonic.exe started as this simple creepypasta, internet ghost stories, about a fella called Tom who gets sent a mysterious CD-ROM of Sonic the Hedgehog, and with the clear instructions from his friend Kyle to not play the game by any means necessary, he plops it in and is greeted for one of the lamest excuses for a horror story out there. We have the classic title screen, but with blood. We have Green Hill Zone, but with blood. We have Dr. Robotnik, but moonwalking. It's pretty clear nowadays that this is a bad, poorly written attempt at creating a scary Sonic the Hedgehog story, filled with grammar mistakes and cliches. But back in 2011, pickings were slim. This was something kind of unheard of, and to this day stands as one of the most iconic creepypasta mascots, especially for video games. This was only further popularized due to the fan game created by a guy called Adam Gavigan in 2012, which adapted the shoddy story into a playable experience, where you can walk. For real, this initial one may be incredibly bare bones, but it's actually received many updates since then that include bug fixes and extra hidden secrets, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, with this revolutionary idea of taking a pre-existing character and adding the red stuff to their eyes, we saw an influx of Sonic.exe clones, basically just people taking the already existing story, changing the names around, and calling it their own unique thing. None of them really took off the same way Sonic did, which was spawning his own series of sequel stories and games. This is where things start to get a little messy. Since anyone had free reign to just take the first entry and do their own thing with it, it resulted in many stories claiming to be a sequel to the original Sonic.exe. We have stuff like Sally.exe, based off Sally Acorn from Sonic SatAM, Sonic2.exe, a crappy fan game that barely functioned, and what is known as the official sequel, Sonic.exe Round 2, featuring a detective and his sister trying to figure out the cause behind the Sonic.exe murders, because apparently there's it's like a cult or something who worship Sonic.exe. Whatever. All you need to know is that in between the two stories, the author did not get better at writing, including such beautiful works of literary genius such as, the guy's name was Derek Green, a really good detective. I should know because I was their boss at the time. They are both dead. Oh, I forgot to tell you, name's Derek Green. I'm a detective. Wow, I'm not really good at this.
Can you believe it, guys? Christmas! Just a week away.
I feel like all this oversaturation, paired with the original story simply not being very good, is what resulted in that initial drop-off in relevancy for the series. People just weren't scared by it anymore and it wore out its welcome. With us, at least. To the loud minority of the internet, Sonic.exe was yesterday's news, and we were all moving on to the next big thing like the Slenderman games or Five Nights at Freddy's.
The riveting rescue of Rockstar Freddy. But that's when the Cape Coral Fire Department got involved. They were probably relieved Rockstar Freddy wasn't a cat, and they pulled out all the stops to pull the teddy off the roof.
But despite that, surprisingly Sonic.EXE didn't really go anywhere. He instead lived on in the hearts and minds of none other than children. Yeah, the kids never really stopped eating this shit up. Again, it's something that I've discussed before in videos, but kids always seem to gravitate towards stuff that seems too old for them, which is why a majority of fan bases for series such as FNAF are made up of kids, so much so that it's even influenced the direction of the franchise to cater more to them. And Sonic.EXE is no different. It was the perfect storm. You're taking this pre-existing IP that kids are familiar with, and in theory you're making it more adult. Again, in theory. If there's one word I'd use to describe this, it most definitely wouldn't be adult. But because of this preconceived idea of it being for older people, kids who may be getting too old for the regular Sonic the Hedgehog are instead moving on to stuff like Sonic.EXE, thinking it's hip and cool. And was this never more prevalent than with kids' obsessions with 3 AM videos? Don't know what a 3 AM video is? Lucky you. Basically, they're just videos where some loud, obnoxious guy running around his house screaming like a 4-year-old decides to summon a spooky character like Sonic.EXE or the Teals doll, and then pretends that they're getting a phone call from said character like it's fucking Scream, and then that character breaks into their house and kills them. Yes, there are kids who think this stuff is real.
Why are you calling your therapist at 3 AM? He told you not to do that.
Nicole, you do know I'm a grown-ass man making these cringe videos, right?
Honestly, these videos are incredibly annoying and stupid, but if you get a group of friends together, they make for some entertaining content to watch and laugh at. Especially the ones where, because I can only assume the creator doesn't own a camera or simply just wants to throw another popular IP into the mix, just roleplay the whole thing on Minecraft and open the video forcing you to like it, threatening the kids that something bad is going to happen to them if they don't. This stuff honestly just reminds me of when I'd look up Bloody Mary videos with my friends when I was younger, but instead of a demonic ghost appearing in your mirror, for today's kids it's Boss Baby.
He's like a little boss baby, like a little man.
This all changed for me, however, when I saw a video of a guy playing this new Sonic.EXE game called Sonic PC Port, created by Loser Makes Games, who funnily enough drew the thumbnail for my last video by Creepypasta Games. Looks good, don't it? This current one was drawn by False Cow. That created Sally.exe. I mean, that's pretty neat, isn't it? Anyways, Sonic PC Port took the general ideas from the initial story and fan game for the original Sonic.exe, but actually attempted to, get this, make it scary. This was done through a variety of features, added sprites, more details that keep you on your toes, such as Tails getting his tails eaten off by this demonic tree, and this really neat meta moment where Sonic.exe starts fucking around with the files in your computer. The game is currently getting a remake by this person called John Conoff, and I really look forward to seeing where it can all go from here, because as a base this thing is super impressive, and I can't wait to see what else they come up with. That's not to say that PC Port was the first to try and do something interesting and new with the EXE formula. There were quite a few others throughout the years that showed promise, but I really believe it was PC Port that helped increase interest again. If you want to get more insight into some other .exe projects from around this time, then I recommend this video by Catswell. That is if you can either speak Russian or are willing to read subtitles for an hour. I did. It was good. But this all showed me one thing. It is very possible to make Sonic.exe cool and scary. Like, look at this guy. It's not just a recolored classic Sonic, it's its own unique design and take on the character. This is Lord X. Instead of being an evil Sonic or Sonic possessed by a demon, he's this mysterious entity that has molded his world and appearance off of the Sonic series, which he has a deep fascination for. You know what, this X guy is pretty relatable. You know, there's a bit more going on rather than simply just being Sonic. But he's evil. And that does a lot in making them a more complex and therefore scarier character. It seems that others took inspiration from this idea and started taking Sonic.exe and making it their own, with their own design and backstory for the character. And this all went off without a hitch, when paired with another thing that further exploded Sonic.exe's popularity again. Friday Night Funkin. Yeah, I don't know either. Friday Night Funkin. A game made by this guy and this fella with music by this person. This Newgrounds game blew up like a year ago and started appearing everywhere, as a new trendy game to play like FNAF or Among Us. Despite that, I've completely avoided it and never even touched it. Fuck it. While I'd argue the game itself isn't anything to write home about, it's just a very simple rhythm game. Honestly, I think the sole reason it got as big as it did was due to the art, style, and music, not the actual game itself. But one thing that definitely helped when it came to extending its longevity was how easy it was to mod the thing, to add in whatever music or characters you like. Eric Hartman? Why not? Freddy Fazbear? Fuck it, sure. Surprisingly, this has led to a lot of random characters getting spikes in popularity due to having a hit Friday Night Funkin mod such as Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, who was also everywhere again. But one of these characters is, of course, Sonic.EXE. As far as I'm aware, a mod for the game was released called Versus Sonic.EXE, a full week of the game where you rap battle against different iterations of the character, such as Lord X, as well as others from the original story such as Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, even a lot of other Sonic-related creepypastas too, like, again, the Tails doll, or Imagine Sonic from the Sonic CD secret screen, or even letting kids today enjoy such classic characters as Sunky. I remember thinking this was the funniest shit in the world back in the day, and now children all over the world get to experience the same joy that I did watching Markiplier play it. You know, Markiplier comes up way too often in my videos. Gotta say, not a fan of Friday Night Funkin'. Not that I dislike it or anything, I just really couldn't care less. But this mod is super fucking cool and impressive. All the animations it has, the cutscenes, integrating pixel art at points in 3D models. It's no surprise this mod took off as much as it did. It's kinda just like the ultimate celebration of everything Sonic.exe. And it's really cool to see just how much of a community has been formed around such a weird concept. It's funny because initially I feel like it was the oversaturation of Sonic.exe that killed it in the eyes of the internet. But ironically enough, I think now it's the saturation that's reviving it, into a state where it's now more popular than it's arguably ever been. And I think that all comes down to the community, and how much they embrace each other's different ideas and takes on the character. And I very much so look forward to seeing the fanbase continue to evolve in the future. So like it or not, I think Sonic.exe is here to stay for the foreseeable future. We can get rid of Tails doll though, he still creeps me out.